Now, a surprising alliance is forming in the Middle East between Israel and Saudi Arabia, as reports say the countries are negotiating a union against Iran. Despite sharing common rivals, there is no official diplomatic relations between the states, and the two clash when it comes to Saudi Arabia's support of the Palestinians. RT's Paula Slier has the details.
There's an unexpected union forming right now in the region between Israel and Saudi Arabia. Unexpected because, on the one hand, while the two share common rivals in Egypt and Syria, Saudi Arabia, particularly recently, has been pouring millions of dollars of aid into Palestinian projects both in Gaza and in the West Bank. The potential impact of such an unlikely union cannot be overestimated. Israel brings to the party excellent propaganda skills. Saudi Arabia, on the other hand, is able to tap into vast reservoirs of petrodollars. Israel, too, has unparalleled influence over American foreign policy. And the result of these two countries working together is shaping international responses.
No doubt about it. Rumors, reports about cooperation, secret meetings started to appear following the Second Lebanon War, 2006, when it became clear that Iran is to become a major player here in our immediate region, but also in the Gulf.
But this cooperation between Israel and Saudi Arabia is problematic because Saudi Arabia gives so much support to the Palestinians. Just recently, it gave some $10 million to UNRWA, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian refugees. This is in addition to an extra $200 million that was donated to Palestinian infrastructure projects. One such project is in Rafah in Gaza, where homes are being rebuilt for Palestinians whose lives were destroyed during the last Israeli war.
The result is that on the one hand you can see them cooperate with Israel when it comes to Iran. On the other hand, they had close contacts with Hamas. On the one hand, they initiate the Arab Peace Initiative. On the other hand, well, they support indirectly Al-Qaeda. So this is the ambiguity you can find in the Saudi policy.
Many are asking the question whether Israel isn't shooting itself in the foot by forming an alliance with a country that supports its enemies. Paula Slier, RT, East Jerusalem.
Now, a closer look at what brings Israel and Saudi Arabia together. Syria is a major issue, as both countries agree that the Assad government should go. Another reason for cooperation is their mutual animosity towards Iran. The two states also share support for the military-backed government in Egypt. Investigative journalist Robert Perry says this alliance could prove to be problematic for U.S. influence in the region.
You've had this building up of mutual interest between these two very significant powers in the Middle East. So it raises the question of whether this very significant, although unlikely, or a sort of really unusual odd couple relationship between Saudi Arabia and Israel might create a new superpower in the Middle East. If Saudi Arabia and Israel could figure out a way to work together, you could have Israel providing its very tremendous, sophisticated political operations involving both the Israel lobby back in the United States, its sophisticated propaganda techniques, with what the Saudis have, which is vast amounts of money. The United States might find this problematic in that while both Saudi Arabia and Israel are American allies, if the two of them were to collaborate more formally on some of these issues, like Syria, for instance, or Iran, or Egypt, that could put the United States in a position of not being able to work its will with quite the freedom that it's had in the past.